welcome to Season 4, Episode 32 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in Lucha Underground history with match number 19 on our list, which is the ladder match for the Lucha Underground Trios Championships between the champions Son of Havoc, Angelico and Ivelisse, against the challengers The Crew of Cortez, Castro, Mr. Cisco, and Bael, from the March 30th, 2015 edition of Lucha Underground titled Chutes and Ladders. This match is a super fun ride. It has a great story to it. It's got one of the craziest bumps I have ever seen in wrestling history, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff in it. And I feel like this match is a little bit of a hidden gem. The Trios Tournament Finals match between these two teams, we talked about that in a previous video. That's the match that I think, gets all the love as it will, even though it's not a really, full match, we'll say. Like, it's kind of just a quick little, almost more of like an angle, after the actual tournament finals itself. But it has that big Angelico dive off of Dario's office all the way into the ring. That blew everybody's minds, went viral, and so on and so forth. This match, though, despite, not having the acclaim as that one, it has, in my opinion, Angelico topping himself with an even crazier bump that we'll talk about near the end of this video. So this is the big rematch. It's a ladder match. The ladder match makes perfect sense because Ivelisse had actually injured her ankle and is on crutches, basically can't do anything. So the ladder match, plays perfectly into The Crew being the heels, kind of sort of being loosely affiliated with Dario Cueto, and him ultimately wanting the titles on them. Because, how is Ivelisse going to climb a ladder with a bad ankle, right? Well, we'll find out. So this match, for a large portion of it, it's just The Crew dominating. And like I said, they tell a really good story with that. They jump the faces during their entrances, and Bael, immediately hits Ivelisse and just drops her, kind of playing into this like sympathy story that she has going for her. She can't walk, and then she gets, decked by a guy, right? So, depending on your thoughts on intergender wrestling, right, that may or may not work for you. But outside of, an early kind of take on the classic baseball slide into the ladder, where Angelico instead goes over the top with the tope con hilo while Cortez, Castro, and Bael are holding the ladder. This is really all about The Crew. I've talked about this plenty of times, in this season, where Lucha Underground, they make their weapons look dirty and disgusting and vile and even more dangerous, and they do that with the ladders. The ladders are all rusty and not, the sterile, super shiny ladders that you would see, in like a WWE ladder match, for example. So I really like that. It just gives this whole grimy underground feel to everything. The Crew, they just dominate. They do a bunch of brutal stuff. They put a ladder over Angelico's crotch and hit it with a chair. They hit a DDT on Son of Havoc, where Mr. Cisco jumps off a ladder with a double stomp. Dario Cueto's office had its normal windows all boarded up. They broke a window in an angle, before this match. So there's boards on the windows, and The Crew, they rip off the boards and use them as a weapon. And it leads to a really fantastic spot where they tease that, which one of them is it? I think it's, I'm just going to look at my notes quickly here. Yeah, it was Mr. Cisco. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So they do a spot where Mr. Cisco is climbing a ladder on the floor, and he gets pushed over, and he actually falls through Dario's window. So he basically takes this bump off the ladder into nowhere. And, obviously there was a crash pad in there, but you can't see it because it's all dark. And it was a really cool and really fun spot. And then they brought him back in a clever way where they tease that Son of Havoc's going to hit a power bomb on the floor, I think through a table, and, he comes diving out of the window, basically hitting a tope, through the open window to break up that, and it was really cool. What they do with Angelico here is awesome. They have him tease that he's going to dive off the roof and just get destroyed with a Singapore cane. And effectively take him out of the match. So now we're basically at a 3-on-1 handicap. It had basically been a handicap match with Ivelisse's injury. Now Angelico's, stuck on top of Dario's office again. and it allows the crew, you would think, to run wild, but it's so good. Son of Havoc gets this amazing flurry where he actually overcomes the odds and takes everybody out. He gets pushed off of a ladder, and as he's coming down, he propels himself off the middle rope with a quebrada, right, a lion salt, all in one fluid motion. I had the pleasure, the only time I've ever seen that move done was by a Canadian indie wrestler named Chris Bishop, who did that in a ladder match in UWA against Ruckus in 2006. I saw it live. There was, at the time, camera phones weren't great, so there was a really bad camera phone video of that made the rounds on the message boards. Unfortunately, that match is a little bit of a lost gem, but maybe we'll talk about that another day. But, M-Dog does the move here, which was awesome. He was a big, UWA wrestler. He was the UWA champion at the point where Bishop did that lion salt. So clearly, he saw it and borrowed it for this match, and I loved it. It's the only other time I've seen that move done. So he hits, this crazy lion salt. He pushes Mr. Cisco off the top rope through the tables on the floor that were teased earlier, and he hits a shooting star press on Bael on like an unbreakable Japanese table, so he just bounces off his sternum. A really, really brutal spot. So he gets this awesome flurry. We kind of get the crew coming back, and then it leads to I hyped it up at the start. One of the craziest spots I have ever seen, where Angelico once again flies off the top of Dario Cueto's office, which, good 20 feet in the air, all the way into the ring, which is a pretty big distance from where that office is. And rather than, he hit the crossbody at the trios tournament, where he's got 3 guys catching him, but here instead, he hits a drop kick to drop kick Cortez Castro off a ladder as he's trying to get the trios titles. Nobody to catch him. He takes that bump right into the ring because it's off a drop kick. It is insane. And the fact that it doesn't get the love that the crossbody does, kind of bothers me, because it is a crazier spot. Maybe they should have held off on it. He did it a couple weeks after the original one. Maybe people felt, okay, we've seen that dive before, but just even wilder this spot was. I loved it. And that, everybody at this point is taken out, and that allows good old Ivelisse, who was on crutches, got decked, wasn't able to contribute anything to the match, to hobble herself up the ladder and pull down the trios championships to retain them for her team, which was a splendid finish, paying off the story that they established at the start of the match. This match is so good. It's so fun. It's got, like I said, brutal spots. It's got a great little story, and that crazy, crazy spot is the cherry on top. I love this match. Season 1 of Lucha Underground was really cool because they would post a lot of their matches for free on YouTube. You can catch that match this way. I will link it on my Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Wrestling50. For any other Lucha Underground footage, though, depending on where you live, you may be able to find it on Tubi. But if not, you can find these episodes in full by doing a quick Google search on various streaming sites. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. And please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.